the angels are sharing a little bit about themselves this week. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, it's Michelle Patterson here with Angel Souls, and this is your weekly angelic reading for the week beginning July 2nd, 2018. A quick shout out to my nephew Cody, happy birthday, and of course happy 4th of July to anybody who lives in the United States, okay? So this is kind of a cool little, I really like what came up, and let's just get into it. All right, so it says round and round again. At this time, we want you to not only be aware of your surroundings, so more stuff is going to be going off, guys. I mean, that's pretty easy to figure out, I suppose. But to understand more of us. This is why I think this is so cool. All right, we are one. You know this, and this is true. We are divided into, and they're quoting aspects. So when they quote, that means it's like a human word and how we would perceive that. So that you might not be overwhelmed. And you will find it easier to call upon us. And when you do, we are but a whisper in presence, yet you think it is our entire being. It is not. So, I've said this before in personal readings, that the way I've always kind of perceived it is that the archangels especially, they come in sort of divided with names, right? Well, that's because that's how we would understand it. That's how our brains work. We compartmentalize everything. We give it a label. I mean, if we had to just call on this one, well, we do call on God, but even then, that's igniting the God within you so that you get the answer that you need as you can perceive it, right? So I think what they're explaining here is that they are bigger beings than we've ever realized, and that they don't typically come to us with their whole presence. They're hearing us, they're there, but they keep a safe distance so as not to overwhelm our energetic bodies, our energetic field. This is where it gets a little, these aren't my words, y'all. This is where it gets a little controversial. So let's keep going. If we were upon you wholly, the human frequency could not stand for it. It is true. Be wary of those who claim advancement. Okay, so there's another human word. You will come to know new beings, new guides. None of these should be used by humans in ego pursuit. My guides say. So they're wanting us to just be mindful, to not give over into that. And I think what they're getting at too, they're wanting us to understand like how they come to us, right? And that, they are kind of divided. They're not actually divided, they're one. But when we're calling upon archangelic help, we're actually calling on one aspect of a whole being, right? And that being is a part of the divine universe. So we're all connected. I know that's a little getting a little in the weeds there a little bit. But so when people say, and I feel like this is important to remind everybody, when people say, no, I'm so advanced that when Archangel Gabriel comes to me, it is Archangel Gabriel. It is all of Archangel Gabriel. It is not. And it's Gabriel kind of standing way far back. Perfect view of you. But again, I think the message here is if we were full up on you, like your body, the frequency of the third dimensional body wouldn't be able to handle it. So they do need to stay back. So that whisper that they give us, it feels so intense that we perceive it as the entire being is there. Now, the reason why I say this is controversial is because I know there are going to be people out there who go, oh, that's nonsense. No, here we go again. I'm advanced enough that the whole of Archangel Gabriel can come in. That's what they're saying is false, and that we need to be careful of people who, like it says here, claim advancement, because we know this is an epidemic problem in our community, in the world. Everyone wants to think that they are special and above others. So we're never going to get to a place of peace if we are trying to do that, where we're trying to put ourselves above each other, or we're trying to get revenge, right? Like, you know, looking at somebody and automatically thinking you have them figured out. Okay, we have to start coming out of that. And if we do, we might have a chance to really connect back into love in the way that it really means, right? And realize that none of us are really all that different from one another. Okay, where were we? Oh, yeah, my guides say. So that's another thing too that might be a little controversial, because I know a lot of people, you know, I have colleagues who give readings and they say, well, my guides are saying this. But at least the people that I know, they put it in that kind of open way, like, well, my guides are saying this, okay? I'm putting it on the table for your consideration. This is different than somebody saying, and I've gotten this myself, well, my guides said. I actually had somebody come to me, I'm thinking of, it was a fellow YouTuber who wanted to fight with me. Why, I don't know. But this person said, well, my guide said that this was the ultimate betrayal. Now, what kind of, and I, you know, and then we get into the battle of the guides, because what did I do? I sat back and I'm like, no, you're not going to gaslight me like that. I did not come to you trying to harm you in any way, shape, or form. I'm closing the door on this. So that can be used as a tactic sometimes, right? Like, I know you. My guides say this, this, and this about you. Nobody can read you unless you want them to read you, right? If you keep your energy open, people can pick up on it. So do you feel what I'm saying here? That's a word of caution from the angels and the archangels. If somebody says, I know you better than you know yourself because my guides say, that's different, right? So please don't come for me if you're a reader and you're like, but my whole thing is about listening to my guides to give readings. It's not what we're talking about here, and I mean no offense whatsoever. If you're in this frequency, then you understand what I'm saying here, you know, and I'm sure you've witnessed it yourself. So let's keep going. All right, it is wonderful to share, but monitor how you feel. The sensations in the body when this is said. Got to turn the page. What the heck did I write? Oh, I can't read my writing. If it is to put one above another, it is not used in purity, okay? So again, that's something that it's time for us to come to some understanding about. And, you know, again, fighting fire with fire, because it has this message here of like, if you then go, well, my guides say, blah, 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 and then you're just fighting about whose guides can beat up the other person's guides or something. Like, my guides are tougher than your guides. So we want to avoid that. But if somebody is doing that, just know it's time to move away from that person. Okay, and let them be on their journey. All right. At this time, you must be of love. So that's the biggest part of the message here. Do not tease or insult each other, nor do you criticize, for this is throwing stones. Yes? So, you know, there's this whole thing of stop criticizing one another. None of you are perfect. You're all on this path together. You're all engaging in this story, this earth plane story, and that's going to be the big breakthrough when we all realize, oh, we're in this together. Not in like a cliche kind of way, but like for real. Like we're all, you know, we all have similar experiences. So I think this also goes into, well, they're even saying now, watch what you pass along to your children, and also retribution. So if you feel like you've been wronged, and you just want to look at somebody and be like, I just have to get revenge on them and I'm going to treat them badly because they deserve it. This is not recommended, okay? Because this is, I'm feeling like it's causing like a short circuiting in the energetic frequency. And then all that does is drag you down as well, okay? I guess I wish I had better communication here, because I understand, I can feel what they're saying. I just don't know how to exactly articulate it so that it's going to land on people. So maybe we just have to say it over and over and over again, because that's how we have had to do things historically, right? We just keep talking about it. All right, so don't throw stones. Yes? All right. So when you turn this tide of turning against one another, then the light may come. Okay, if you hear some noise in the background, the wind is picking up. We get windstorms here, and it's creaking and crunching my apartment. Okay, so that's what's going on. So yeah, so this is when the light may come. And isn't that interesting that they're saying that? Like, we're basically back here waiting for you guys to figure out that you're not separate. We say that all the time. But again, it's become so cliche that I think people just shut down from that. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, okay, wow, they're giving it to us. Okay, so if you're going to try to intentionally find any reason how you are divided from others, it's pulling us away from the light. If you're going to find some way to make someone your enemy, you know, and we've talked about this is what sports can do if you are one of those crazy sports people, right? So, you know, the ones that take it too far, or politics, okay, especially here in the United States, you know, you name it. Even in spirituality, no, I'm this and you're that. And I just read a comment. Somebody said, it's not heaven, it's called the other side. You know, heaven is dogmatic. Well, you're being dogmatic by telling everybody they're not allowed to say heaven. They have to say the other side. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's going to be sloppy for a while. We're going to be making these mistakes. But just think of it this way. If you come upon somebody who you don't know them, but just by looking at them, you already have them in a certain category of person, take a beat, take a breath, and reevaluate, all right? Because we can't get away with this any longer. And if you resist it, boy, you're going to be knocked down hard. And I don't want that for you guys. Do you understand what I'm saying? We can't, they're saying too, don't diminish one another's experiences. So don't just say, oh, you know, you live a charmed life. You never know how hard somebody had to work to get to where they are. You don't know what their story is. You don't know what their secret. See, this is, you know, a big problem with some of the events that's been going on, okay? And why we're all trying to bring awareness to certain topics. I have some young viewers who watch this, so I always try to watch my language and watch what I pop in here. But, you know, just be aware of that, okay? We need more compassion and empathy. Yeah? All right, so back to this. All right, where were we? Your spiritual growth. Oh, I love this. Wait till you hear this one. Your spiritual growth is not to be endured or accomplished, but savored. So we're lucky to be here. Let me read that again. Your spiritual growth is not to be endured or accomplished, but savored. So, you know, think about how many times, and I'm guilty of this too. How many times have you been like, oh gosh, my life is just so hard. If I had all my debt paid off, I'd be so happy. If I had this kind of house, if I had that one love partner, oh, you're really in trouble then. If I had that one particular person, I'd be so happy. Right? So, you know, I mean, when we get into that narrow focus, we're not giving the universe room to show up and to help us and to let us see what's possible. Right? Because sometimes when we get so narrowly focused on something and we're talking about how hard life is, that's the lens that we're perceiving everything, right? So it is going to be hard. It's going to be awful, you know? And yes, bad things happen. Of course they do. And no, I'm not encouraging everyone to be in denial about that and be Pollyanna about it or whatever. But I think the message here is your life is happening right now. I say that all the time, and it is good. There is good in everything in your life, okay? And whatever lessons you're going through, even the tough stuff, there goes the wind again, even the tough stuff, you're going to come out of it. You're going to be okay if you allow yourself to be okay, okay? Okay? Anyway, okay, where were we? As we appear to you in segments, it's interesting the language they use, right? As we appear to you in segments, so too are you of God. Be well and with all love, end. So they're saying, you know, as we're explaining to you that we're basically these broken out, if you want to think of it as like, I'm using human words here, but like personalities or different, and we'll go back to what they quoted around aspects. So the aspect of this, at least the way I'm perceiving this big angelic being that is part of God, as we are all a part of God, then gets broken out into, okay, I want to feel nurtured in communication and conception and create the next chapter of my life. So I'm going to pull out this aspect that we're calling Gabriel. Okay. I need to feel protected, clarity, courage, whatever. So I'm going to pull out this aspect called Michael. Does that make sense? So as they are segments of this one being, so are we segments and personalities of the divine. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's it. Now they completely went quiet. Like they were chattering for like a second and then just like left me hanging. All right. So we're going to get on to the cards. I'm ready. There's a motorcycle outside. There's all this atmosphere. I love it. Whatever. Signs of life, right? Before we get into this, personal readings. Get on in line. Get your personal reading. AngelSouls444.com, the services page. I am Angel Souls on Patreon and Angel Souls on Gumroad. Please go to Gumroad and check out my courses over there. And of course, some of you know that I already posted meditation. It's a morning meditation. So you can listen to it for free on YouTube. But if you would like to have it as a download, a copy that you basically own, I guess, you can go to Gumroad and get a download. I do keep everything very reasonably priced, I feel. So get on over there and check it out. Again, it's Angel Souls on Gumroad.com and Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting me on Patreon. Let me explain something to you and just how much that means to me. Equipment is expensive. Okay. I have 2 DSLRs, a ton of glass. I have a lighting setup that should make me look 20 years old, but it doesn't for what it cost. Microphones, editing equipment, the time that goes into all of this stuff. When you just give like a little bit every month and you make that pledge to me, it means the world to me, and it really does make it so that I can do these videos. So I can't stress that enough. My gratitude and my love to you. May you be blessed. All right. And then of course the decks that I'm using, I leave all that information down below. I think that's it. Let's get into it. I'm going to use the crystal deck. Here we go. Okay. We got to stop. Sorry. They're saying talk about fires. There's going to be fire and water. I almost said fire and ice, but like fire and water. So it almost feels like some regions are having flooding, God forbid. Remember, those earthquakes are still on tap. I am shocked that we have not had earthquakes yet. I mean, we had a few, but please get ready. Okay. I love you guys. And whatever's going on in your part of the world, I always want to hear from you. You leave your comments, you get on Facebook with me. Okay. If there's a major event going on somewhere in the world, I'm always happy to just get on Facebook Live if I have to, and we'll talk you through it, okay? So I don't know what'll happen this week maybe, but the fire danger, and that makes sense because we have 4th of July. And most of you know that I live here in Colorado Springs. There's still going to, our fire departments around here are amazing, but we get wildfires here. So just be careful is all we're saying. Okay, let's get back to this now. All right. And it helps too, if you want to not pull or manipulate the energy necessarily, but if you concentrate with me and then we're all connected and then we get me dropping the deck. Landed in my lap though, tugged on my microphone, peeled my makeup off. Oh my gosh. Okay. But if we all concentrate and flow our love towards one another, actually I got to switch my camera angle. There we go. Man, I really messed things up. Hang on. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, but if we focus our energy, we can flow love to one another. And I would really especially like to flow love to people who are in a dark space. We're in a time where I think people are giving up. They're really, really giving up. And as I posted on Facebook, and this was interesting too, because I really expected... I expected a reaction. Nobody really, a few people responded, but I admitted I've been in dark places too. Like I have a lot of empathy for people who, again, I want to be careful with the language that I use here. I don't want, little ones getting scared or anything, but I've been there. And that's why I do the work that I do. It's because I want to do anything that I can do to help contribute to the love, to our growth, us being connected, community, whatever I can offer. So this is why this work is so important to me. So let's flow that love. And for real, I'm going to get your cards now. No, I'm not. I'm going to climb around on the floor. Forgiveness. All right, I'm going to just pause here and we're going to talk about this because it's pink tourmaline. And to me, I always interpret this like it really resonates with the higher heart. So the higher heart, or the tiny space of the heart, however you see it, that resonates with the divine. That's the purest love that there is. Okay, so divine connection. And this is saying it's time to forgive life. We were just talking like, life is so hard, life is so this, and that's not untrue. It can be true, I suppose, but we want to focus on what a gift this existence is. So you might have to forgive your past. You might have to forgive a person. And I, usually when this card comes up, I start getting the comments, I get the emails about, I can't forgive. Okay, I won't forgive. What that person did was unforgivable. And there's some disempowerment in that. We have all been victims of something, okay? And, and they're saying self-forgiveness too. I don't know if we said that already, but they came in and said self-forgiveness and releasing. This must be done. This must be done. If we want to hang on to the darkness, then the darkness is going to, keep festering. It's going to keep being fed, okay? So try to work on activating what I'm calling the higher heart. How you perceive it is up to you. This card actually kind of matches my hair too. I got some rose gold highlights in my hair. Pink, higher heart, okay. Anyway, but really keep that in mind this week. So a lot of people immediately want to go to, okay, I'm going to do a forgiveness meditation. That's wonderful, okay? But where you are in a meditation, that isn't the end all be all. You know what I mean? You got to take what you're experiencing in that meditation and bring it into your world. Okay. So let's get another card here. Tiger's Eye Courage. It's also very protective. You are protected right now. The negativity needs to go. And they're saying it takes a lot of courage to forgive. Okay. So working on that solar plexus, working with Archangel Michael if you want to, all right? But whatever, path you choose in order to make this happen, it's perfectly acceptable. But you are being protected right now to do the work that you need to do. We need all hands on deck. And I know I've said that before as well, but the message still stands. It is all hands on deck, okay? Oh, I love this card. Fire, agate, creativity. You're creating another new chapter, another existence. But this has been going on for a while, so we haven't quite accomplished that. We'll know we have accomplished what we all came here to accomplish when we finally love and accept and are at peace with one another. Okay, and in a way we're still like little kindergartners, because it's the division. The division is really poisonous. And the distractions are really poisonous. And it's time for us to create. It's time for us to remember who we are, and that we are that that piece of the divine, right? I know that gets said over and over and over again, but we're going to have to keep saying it until it lands. You know what I'm saying? So let me feel this out, because they're saying, because it's interesting, there's a push-pull here. So when I say kindergartners, it's almost like we're still learning, we're still getting there, right? But so many of us, I think, are kind of going within, and so we're isolating a little bit. So depending on how you're approaching this isolation, it doesn't have to be a bad thing, okay? If you need that time for yourself, by all means do it. If you know you're in a crabby mood, some days I wake up and I'm just like, oh no, forgot to buy coffee last night. Oh no, now I have no coffee. What am I going to do? You might not want to be around other people, and that's okay, right? Because there's that self-learning. But it's a far different thing if you're in such deep judgment of others that you shut them out. I think that was one of the biggest lessons I learned moving to this city, because it's like, if you're not from here, we have nothing in common, and I'm not going to try to be friends with you. I've said that before too. It's a lot of repeating words here, forgive me, but but I think we need to be more open-minded about one another, embracing what makes us unique. We have a lot to learn from each other. And it's not about fighting. It's not about judging. It's about coming together, and all of us are being called to work on this creation, this new way of being. Okay, so one more card from this deck, please. Rose Quartz, Inner Child. So another pink kind of divine love card, working on that innocence. And a lot of people go too far with this, like, I know, because they're coming from a victim mentality. Now, that's another thing we want to be careful with, because if you are a victim of something, that's one thing. A victim mentality is constantly finding, a way to get people to, it doesn't always have to be this way. Don't come for me, okay? It doesn't always have to be this way. But some people will take victimhood to a whole new level, where they are trying to be the martyr, or they're trying to tell other people how to live, and when that person or other people won't fall in with their opinion, then, oh, you're stupid and beneath me. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are all examples of like low frequency. Anything that we're putting out there to try to manipulate one another, it's going to get called out. You're not going to get away with it. Watch October. I don't know why October just came up, but boom. October. We're exposed. They just used the word exposed. People are getting exposed. This isn't just politicians, guys. Okay? Movements get exposed. All right? I'm not saying it because I'm not taking the hate. I won't take it. No. But let's just say this would be a group of people that always tell other people how to live, and they try to feign compassion, but they really have none. Okay? So mark that one down on the calendar. Let's see what happens in October of this year. But this inner child thing, along with this forgiveness, for some of you, this is forgiving childhood abuse. I'm with you on that. Okay, I suffered childhood abuse from an extremely young age, and I've shared that before too. And I think it's important that people talk about it. And if you do talk about what hurts you, and people don't have the time of day for you, let that be a flag, okay? Let that be something that you really pay attention to. You don't need fair weather friends in your life. Do you know what I'm saying? And especially because I feel like we're about to go through this like a dark wave kind of energy. And I know that might sound scary or whatever, but it's what needs to happen. It needs to flow. It needs to kind of knock us in the head a little bit, because we're not getting it. Okay? And there are things that I've been witnessing, just societal things, that I'll tell you right now, I'm not courageous enough to get on here and say it. Reflection, get off the cards. I don't have the courage. I'm not taking it. You know what I'm saying? Because I see it, but if I try talking about it, society is not a place to hear it. I would be branded all kinds of different names. And then I wouldn't be able to do the work that I'm hoping to do, which is to make positive change. So make note for yourselves. I know I can feel it. I just felt a huge wave of people going, yeah, me too. There's so many things that I want to just come out and say, hey, that is not, that's not how I feel about that or whatever, but I stay quiet because I don't want to make waves. I get it. And I know I've preached before about like, hey, speak up, but you also need to do it within proper timing. You know what I mean? So we'll leave that there. I'm clicking my nails all over the cards. That's this week for you guys. It is what it is. All right. Actually, I'm going to get 2 color cards this week. And that should do it right there. We have, oh, yay. Ooh, it's like my earrings. Turquoise, awaken your empathy. The number's 34, which reduces to 7. 7, as you guys know, can be a symbol of the archangels and archangelic energy being around you. And it depends on the scenario, but it can be a message too of job well done. We're behind you. You're on the right path. But I want you to see that this is sort of, it's about communication, communicating your empathy, whether it's popular opinion or not. And I hope to be strong where I can do that too. at some point. As you guys know, I'm on this journey with you. But if you look at the card here, it's sort of like swirling. Here, let me see if I can get it closer. Swirling smoke, almost. That's kind of the energy that we're dealing with right now, you know, where people are kind of in a fog and they're kind of like, well, it's this, but it's also kind of this, and I don't know what to think. And so everyone just retreats and then nobody does anything, right? And I get it, because I feel the same way. I'm like, you know what, when y'all figure out what you're doing, let me know. I'll come on in and let you know how I feel about that. But it's tough. I'm not sitting here saying there's any sort of easy approach here. Then we have ruby. So ruby does represent love. This is red. So we have root chakra. What makes you feel not safe with other people? For me, I'll give an example. For me, I'm very sensitive to people being cocky with me. Because when I'm out and about, I'm friendly and I'm respectful to people. So when somebody does something or says something inconsiderate, it does trigger me. Why would it trigger me? Well, there was a very early time in my life where my boundaries were crossed and I wasn't respected. I wasn't considered a person, right? And then that got cemented in me and then kind of informed how things went up until very, very recently. You know what I'm saying? With, you know, and I've talked about all that stuff too before. But so when somebody acts that way towards me, I do kind of like, you know, you're crossing a boundary with me, you know, and it makes me feel a little raw and unsafe. Because if somebody is willing to be so overtly rude or whatever, just it's my perception of it, it's not actually how it is. But in that moment, I think they're capable of anything, right? And it does. That's kind of a sad thing to admit, I suppose, and it's just not occurring to me. But this is about safety and having a moment just like I did. Say it out loud if you have to. Tell people and let the realizations land, okay? That this does rejuvenate your body. The number's 8, which is a number of abundance. It's also kind of what goes around comes around. So there's a little bit of that going on too. But it's all about loving yourself, loving your body. Sorry about the glare. But also reclaiming, you know, if you feel like your boundaries have been invaded. If you, maybe it's emotionally, maybe you fell in love with somebody and they made you think that they were in love with you too. And then one day you found out they cheated on you and they betrayed you, or you find out one day they're just leaving because they weren't honest with you. They weren't authentic with you, right? Because that can feel like a betrayal as well. You know, this could really have this emotional impact, which then affects your physical body, right? So let this be a week. Okay, listen, again, if you're in the U.S. and you're going to, you know, have some hot dogs on 4th of July, like maybe let it go for that day. But really be honest with yourselves. You know, how can you show yourselves more love? How can you show others more love? If you're one of the, I can't imagine these kinds of people are watching these videos, but you know the type. Get them before they get you. It's not okay. I have my guard up. I don't like you until I know you. Well, you're never going to get to know me because I come to the table with my own garbage, and anybody who acts that way to me, if you're anything less than kind and respectful, I'm not going to even try to connect with you. You know what I'm saying? So let this be a week of self-exploration, self-understanding, self-love, love others. It's pretty simple. All right. So we're going to leave it there. I'm sending you guys so much love and take care.